PowerTech fans, we're headed to the Coaches Site Live. Join us June 12th to 14th in Ann Arbor at the University of Michigan for the premier coaching event of the year. Coaches, if you're serious about getting better, TCS Live is your one-stop shop. You'll be surrounded by some of the sharpest minds in hockey from the NHL, NCAA, CHL, and international levels, all sharing real actionable coaching strategies in a way that's actually engaging. I got a small taste of this year at their St. Andrews College event, and it was unreal. The presenters were top-notch, and the coaches were all super dialed in and hungry to learn. But this is going to be a 10x experience. Beyond the elite presentations, you'll have two massive networking socials, a prime opportunity to connect, share ideas, and build relationships that can elevate your career and coaching skill set. And for PowerTech, we'll be there too. We'll be hanging out, connecting with coaches, and recording some live podcasts. So if you're a listener, you can come up and say hi and we can talk hockey. Don't miss this opportunity. Head to thecoachesitelive.com right now and use code PowerTech to save 10% on your ticket. We're super fired up to be involved with this event, and we'll see you guys there. So we went to, I don't know, like maybe the best showcase of all time over the weekend. The Leo Boivin Showcase.
Old school hockey player.
Dude, in Prescott, Ontario, it was unreal. So the super small town. So anyone who doesn't know Prescott, it's like I think 50 minutes south of Brockville, towards the Ottawa area. So we had one of our earlier showcases canceled. So Jake actually reached out to the tournament, just emailing to see if they had space for us to come in, and the guy ended up having room, so that replaced one of our showcase weekends. And man, it was like small town hockey. The community was right behind it, super well organized. I think it was their 51st year doing the tournament this year.
Long, eh?
Yeah. And so they had like all these tradition things that they do at the showcase. In the final game, they had like this little show during the flood, like they would do at a whatever junior game, or like a halftime show kind of thing, which was cool. So there was so many different elements of it that were awesome. And the reason that this is the best showcase I've ever been to, like for sure. And it wasn't because the hockey was exceptional. It was just because it was such a fun atmosphere to be in. And it was, in my mind, it was like, this is why people love hockey. Like this whole weekend was a perfect example of why hockey's the best. There's just people enjoying playing. They didn't even know any of the players, because it's not a huge, it's a minor hockey tournament. It's not a OHL tournament or a junior tournament or whatever. So the kids that are there, like the community kids that are around, are like asking kids to sign stuff and whatever. And these are kids that'll never go on to be hockey players, you know? But it was awesome just to have that, that feel and that involvement from the community behind it. So they had this thing called the row. So up top behind one of the nets where it's like standing room, it's a bunch of, I don't even know what age they were, but they look like college age. And they have a liquor license there, so they
get there they go there, get all banged up.
Oh yeah, so they can, if they just, it's just a riot. So they're yelling stuff. They have the chants going, and they have like branded. So the hat that I'm wearing, I got a pin from the row here somewhere, and these were the hats for the year.
Cool. Pink.
So pink.
Why pink?
I think they change the colors every year, and this year just happened to be pink. I mean, I could be wrong. I know nothing about it just from going there for the first time, right? So I'm sure there's way more detail to it that would be cool to know about. But so in the finals, our U17 team ended up winning the tournament. We played the Ottawa Junior 67s in the finals, and all our guys taped these to their helmets. Like they put them over their helmets and wore them
to get the row going
for warm-ups.
Yeah.
To get the row going. Yeah, right. So they had a bunch of different awards for the tournament as well. So one of them was like I think they called it the Critics Award or something like that. And I think it's the row that votes for which team they like the best. And so our guys won that, like our U17 team won that, because they were just getting the people going and like totally bought into the community feel of it. But what was cool is for our guys, like so we had both our teams there, the U18 and the U17 teams, and both of them, for both teams, they were the perfect amount of involved with the crowd and bought into the
atmosphere of
the tournament without being idiots. Because it could real easy go like too far, where it's like now people aren't going to take you seriously as a hockey team. And that was what I loved about it. So like our guys perfectly played into it, where they found that perfect balance of getting the crowd going, getting the people going, but not going so far that it was like, you guys are idiots. So it was awesome. So if anyone around for next year, like if you want an experience, it was awesome. It was so fun. And so actually, so Mac coached up there when he was coaching Ottawa, the junior A team, CCHL, and he kind of gave us a heads up about it, saying like, dude, it's one of the best showcases you're going to go to, like because of that reason, the atmosphere and all that stuff. And it ended up like it didn't prepare me at all, right? I was like, okay, it's a cool showcase, whatever. But
yeah, what does that mean in today's day and
yeah,
age?
exactly. So it felt like old school hockey, old school feel, and it was a newer facility, but they still brought that a little bit of throwback vibe to it. They had the committee that runs the tournament, and they were all bought into all the people getting into it, things that were happening, which was awesome. So it was a great way. Like that was our last weekend playing for both our teams, and it was great. Our two teams played each other for one of the games too, and it was an awesome way to wrap up the weekend. But just for people that don't know about it and are interested in maybe going to it, it's not the best hockey.
It's not the
tournament.
Toronto Marley tournament.
No. But just in terms of an experience, Cup,
it's a good tournament.
Yeah, just in terms of the experience, it's an awesome thing to go to. And there were still we had a bunch of junior A scouts there that pulled some of our guys out to talk to them too, that were scouting the tournament. So there were still people there watching. So it wasn't like it was just for fun or anything. Yeah. But
it's hockey, man. Like, so really, it's funny that when you went to that tournament, I know that tournament, not because I went to it, but it's one of the tournaments that when I was growing up, that the team 2 years older than me went to that tournament, and the team before that. So I heard about the tournament, and everybody said it was amazing. So maybe even before I moved up to the major midgets, whatever.
This is when you were a kid?
Dude, it was famous back then. I don't remember it being called the Leo Boivin, but it probably was. But the boys used to call it the Prescott tournament. And they have, honest to God, just like you're saying, they used to say the best tournament ever. And it was at the same end of the year, so that's probably why our team didn't go. We're doing other things, but I heard not the same stories, but how awesome of a tournament it was, and the kids would come back and say it was the best ever. So, which is cool. Another tournament that was like that, not the same thing, but in Hull, Quebec, when I was in I skipped a year, so it was major midget year, and this Hull tournament was the same thing. It wasn't like the same fun stuff, like it was a bigger tournament, but I forget what rinks the rink we played. It was a big rink, like the Hull Olympics were played there, and like the games in the afternoon because people worked would be like, but there's people there, and then at night you go to you'd see if you played at 7-8 o'clock at night, like basically sold out, hard to find a seat. Like for a kid, that's like, wow, it's amazing. So those tournaments are unbelievable. But the Prescott tournament, I heard it's great, and it reminds me of, I don't know if it reminds me or if it brings back what my feelings of hockey. That's so
100%.
If you could, yeah. So
100%.
As you're describing that, and you're describing how the kids had a blast, the fans, if you want to call them fans, were in it. The community was in it. They made it hockey, but it was something else. Honestly, that's how I feel I grew up. I'm being honest, like, because I look at the tournaments now. And when I coached and stuff, my son's tournaments, I'm like, it's a hockey tournament. You could see the corporate side of it, where someone's running a tournament to make a bunch of money. It's like get on the ice, get off. Here's your player of the game award. No, they don't even give it to you. Like everything's in and out, and let's clean this shit up real fast and capitalizing on money. Whereas when I played hockey as a kid, it was so much more like an experience. I remember playing in. I think I've said this on a podcast before. One of my favorite tournaments ever was it was called the Bon Sioux tournament. So it was like a winter festival in Sault Ste. Marie, and every year we went there. The Sioux Pee Wee tournament. They played at when I was up in the Sioux last year in playoffs. I said to my wife, I said, I want to go and just see this rink. That's how much it meant to me. Like, easy, man. But I love it. I want to see this rink because my memories of that rink were so awesome as a kid. And this is why I loved hockey so much. So we would play in this Sioux tournament. It was called the Sioux Pee Wee Arena. And I went in there and I told my wife, they said, did only a couple little things. I said, but man, wow, is this giving me good memories. So when we would play in this tournament, it would be up to Pee Wee, obviously. So Adam and Pee Wee. And the games there was no curfew on the games. It was, you would play 3 periods. Every second period, they would flood the ice. So you might start the game with a fresh one, or yeah. So which is cool, but there was no ties. You would play till a winner. So you would play in overtime, and then it would go 5-on-5, take a guy off after X amount of minutes, 4-on-4, 3-on-3, 2-on-2, 1-on-1 until someone scored, and it was awesome. So you and I loved it. So you'd get there at the rink. Say you played at 1 o'clock, so you'd get there at 12. And I always was an early guy, so I'd be like earlier, and I'd stand there, and there'd be games, and the lobby would be packed. There'd be tons of people watching every game. Players that are playing next would be along the board, so it was like just a packed house, and you get to watch other players play all the time. But if you played at 1, you were probably playing at 2:30 or 3. So everything was pushed back because of the overtimes and stuff. Dude, it's the best experience. And when you guys explaining that to the kids and the way the kids were talking about it, it's like I would love players to be able to experience those old school tournaments where it wasn't just about, you know, fundraising for your organization and like actually having a tournament. It sounds like the Prescott Leo Boivin tournament was exactly like that. It was about the experience, and it's a culture almost, right?
For sure. And like, man, I've no issue with, because a lot of these tournaments they try to make some money on it 100%. And like, I don't like, this is the other thing too, is we talk a lot about people trying to make money and all this shit. And I don't necessarily have a problem with people trying to make some money, right? Like if that's the business you chose to go into, whatever, it's fine. But what I like about these guys is that they try to make it an experience. So all the details were there. So they had like the 3 stars of the game. They had, if anytime you got a hat trick, they had a trophy. If you got a hat trick in a game, they had the tournament MVPs. They had the most valuable player of the final game, and then they had the old school huge trophies that you got, which you returned. But then they gave us a trophy to take home, and like every game was just like that. And so they really try to make the details of it like super dialed in. There was also only one rink, which was awesome. So everybody was watching this game.
That's the thing,
right? Everybody was watching this game only. They weren't jumping over to this game and that game. So that was really cool, because most of the rinks you go to now, it's 2 to 4 pads, and everybody's kind of buzzing around
all
everywhere.
over the place.
So it was from 8 a.m. till 10 p.m. game on the same
That's
pad,
awesome.
which was great.
That's awesome.
And then they also had a helper guy. So they would assign a little kid to each team
Bring
to help them with
stuff.
fill the bottles, go to the bench, like all that stuff. So
think of the amount of people it takes to run that thing.
No kidding. Incredible. Well, and that's why it's like, hey man, make as much money as you can, because you ran an awesome tournament, and the kids are going to talk about that tournament for the rest of their life, man. And it really, exactly to your point, it brought me back to the enjoyment of the game. You know, it just wasn't that serious. It was fun.